Hey, everybody, once again, it is a time for Step Up, Make a Difference, the podcast. And as you can see already on your screen, along with Marty Durden, I'm Mike Peacock, and we've got our special guest this week, Coach Dusty Perdue, Glenwood Gators basketball and former softball coach. What all have you coached, Dusty, at Glenwood in your
Oh,
years?
that list is real long. Football, basketball, volleyball. I got the program started, and Kayla Strength has done a great job with that. Um, I've coached tennis, I've coached softball, and now I'm coaching golf.
How
So
about that?
I've coached everything but soccer, track and cross country, and cheerleading.
I
And
hear you.
believe it or not, we were between cheerleading coaches one time, and they asked me, "Hey, do you want to oversee that?" I said, "That's where I draw the line. I'm good."
I understand. I understand. But we are
I'm glad
joining
to be
you.
here, guys. Glad to be here
We,
with y'all.
we are glad to have you. Absolutely. And we're coming to you on Masters Sunday. And so we're actually recording a little bit earlier than we normally do because we want to see the drama part of the Masters. So we're starting a little early while those guys are still on the front nine. So we can all get off of here and watch the back nine. And I think Marty's up in Spartanburg at a conference golf tournament. Is that right, Marty?
Yeah, I sure am.
With Shorter. And so we're just gonna jump right in today and start talking as we normally do. And again, Coach, we are proud to have you with us. You've been around coaching in this area for a long time, and you've got a coaching pedigree as well in your family. We're going to talk about that a little bit as well, but just some different things that have gone on. We finally crowned a national champion in basketball. Congratulations to Michigan getting that done. And then on the women's side, congratulations to UCLA who got a big one there. Major League Baseball season is fully underway. College baseball is going strong, and we've had absolutely fantastic weather the last couple of weeks. As a matter of fact, I would really like to be out on a golf course myself right now. But it is getting, I call it sprummer here in Georgia and Alabama. It's spring, but it feels like summer a lot of days.
Correct. Yeah.
And
Right.
so we're up in the 80s today, and it is really nice outside. But Marty, this guy, you've known this guy a long time. You probably known him longer than I have because you've been around here longer than me. But I first met him probably back in the 90s, not long after I was at CSU. The first time I met Dusty, and then we kind of known each other off and on and from a distance for a while, and got to know each other a little bit better over the last probably 10, 12 years. Dusty, I had the pleasure of going to church with your parents for several years, and got to know your mom pretty well. Back also when I was doing a little sporting goods sales and things like that, I got to know your mom a little bit. But just kind of tell us your background. We always do this with our guests. We give them a chance to kind of tell their story a little bit about how they got from point A to point B in their life. And so tell us how Dusty Perdue came to be the legend that he is today.
I don't know about that, but it can be said, and I mean, you already mentioned it. The pedigree is there because of who my parents are. And, I guess as the eldest brother of three, I was around that my whole life, and I really didn't know anything else except athletics, school and athletics, and physical education and athletics. And both of my parents, and we'll get into that, but starting with me, we moved here to Columbus when I was in the fourth grade. I went to the oldest known elementary school, or our school period, in the state of Georgia, which is Winton Elementary School. The library there is still there. I went to Winton Elementary, and then I went to Richards Middle School. And then I got asked when I was going to be a freshman, did I want to go to Hardaway or did I want to go to Shaw? And my parents Shaw was built in 1978. Of course, that's why we came here. My dad opened up Shaw in 1978. He was the first athletic director, first head coach of everything there. Gordon Stallings brought him back to Columbus from Gainesville Junior College, where he was the head boys basketball coach. And we came with him here. My mom was the first PE teacher there, first basketball coach there. But I got asked, do you want to come to Shaw, or would you rather go somewhere else? And, I'm going to go to Shaw with them. I want to be there and be a part of that. I'm a 1987 graduate of Shaw High School. My dad retired the year that I graduated. So I've always told people his job was to get me out of high school, and he did a really, really good job of that. But, I went on to play tennis at Abraham Baldwin down in Tifton, Georgia, and came back home and was there for 2 years and played there and did some things. And, how I got into what I got into is Marty knows him really, really well. I think his nickname is Fluff. Mike Gitkin gave me a phone call and gave me a phone call. He was the athletic director at Calvary Christian way back in 1999. And he said, hey, I know your background. Would you be interested in coming and helping me with girls basketball? And I did that for 2 years with him, and then got a phone call from one of my mentors, who is the legendary Doug Key. And he was at Glenwood, and he said, hey, I know what you're doing over there, but would you like to come over here and be my assistant coach for the boys at Glenwood? And, I thought about it for a little while, and I said, yes, sir, I'd love to do that. Not knowing that he had set me up, that he was going to step down the next year and really wanted me to take over the program. And since 2005, that is where I've been. I've been a Glenwood Gator since 2005. I know y'all have had Coach Fanning on here. He started in 1999. I came over in 2005. Coach Key was my boss for 1 year. My athletic director and my boss since 2000. After that has been Tim Fanning, and we're the oldest two at that school. We're still hanging in there. He's running a great program in baseball, as you know, and the athletic director. And I think we have done a really good job with our basketball program at Glenwood, building it to where it is. And,
you certainly have. You certainly
and now the golf program has been good with Scott Miller as our coach for a long, long time. And Scott decided to step out about 2 or 3 years ago. And, I'm a great bus driver for the golf team. I do a really, really good job of that. No, but with golf, I can talk to them as an athlete. I can line up a putt and stuff like that. They all have their own swing coaches. They all have their people they go to. But I can just talk to them about the competitive side of golf, taking on the golf course or taking on who you're playing, stuff like that. But as far as that, they need to keep the swing and all that to their coaches. I'll just get them to the tournament, get them to where they need to go. I'll get them a water and a snack and make sure they're well hydrated and taken care of, and we'll take off from there. But, going back to me, Mike, I knew you when you were the SID at Columbus State way back when. I got to know you a little bit then and found out you were really a real big deal here in this town when you were doing the job you were doing. And then I got to know you a little bit more when you were coaching softball at St. Luke, I think. And then I think you coached at Calvary. And now just doing some of the stuff that you do with Georgia Alabama Sports Live and Thrift. Thrift being one of my guys, he couldn't ask for a better guy to be involved with. You've done a really, really good job. I enjoy sitting and listening to anything that you do. So you've done a really, really good job.
Well, I appreciate that.
The elder statesman in the picture, I've known for a long time. And he actually coached one of my brothers in golf, and actually coached both of my brothers at Brookstone when he was there. My family has known him for a long time. Chip, his son, actually came over and worked with us for a little while at Glenwood and was part of our coaching staff over there. But you want me to a better heart or a better person that loves young people than Marty Durden. And I say that with a guy that's still younger than him. So I look at that from that aspect also. But for my brothers and my family, Marty Durden is a high ceiling. He's a great guy. And what y'all are doing here with this is phenomenal. I am glad that Thrift found a spot for y'all to be able to do this on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. I've watched several of these. Y'all have had some people that I've never heard of before that I thought was really, really good on here. And y'all have really tried to cover the whole spectrum of what you're trying to do. So I am very honored to be on with y'all today.
Well, I will say this, that coming from your family, that's a high compliment for me. I don't know of a family anywhere where you have 3 coaches in the Hall of Fame. Is there another one in Georgia? I don't know. But
well, you say that, and I appreciate that, and I was very honored to go into that. I'm sure that lady that's my mother had a lot of pull and a lot to do with that. I have done some really good things at Glenwood, and it's because of the people that I've coached and the people that are there. But to put my resume up against both of their resumes, I'm way on down the list, buddy. I'll tell you that. My dad did it for 44 years. My mom did it for more than that. It was close to 50 when she was my assistant coach for 8 years at Glenwood, and I couldn't ask for a better assistant coach. And, like I said, Debbie and Bubba Ball have set the standard really, really high, and I'm just trying to reach that, and I hope I've made them proud.
You have. You made us all proud. There's just something about you, Dusty, as a coach that I see as a unique quality. You make coaching look easy. There are a lot of coaches. Hey, Fanning don't. I've seen him get in umpires' faces and all that, a few times. He's a little better now. He's getting older. But you just make coaching look easy. And your players, everybody in the stands, when they look at you, they just say, now there's a ball coach.
Well, so, I appreciate that. I will say this, and Mike may tell you a little bit more about this. I call it the dark side. When you go to the dark side, which is officiating, which is umpiring, and I do that during the fall for Georgia High School, and I do it in the spring for Alabama High School, your demeanor changes a lot when you're the one that's getting yelled at or not the one that's getting yelled at. So I will tell you that when I started doing that and got into that, and it did change my mindset of how I wanted to treat them because of how I wanted to be treated. So I don't blow up like the 36-year-old that I was way back when compared to now as a 56-year-old and getting a little bit older. So it has changed my mindset a lot when I went to umpiring compared to how I handle the games or handle stuff like that. But let's go back. You're right. I've been very fortunate to have some great athletes. So they make the game a lot easier when you're good, and it makes the coach look good.
That's for sure. That's for sure. And you're right. I have had you when I was coaching middle school softball at St. Luke, and I tell you what, every time I saw you coming, I was like, "Thank you, Lord, we've got a good umpire," because around here you never know what you're going to get.
We won't get into that. Some people might be watching. We don't need to get into that for sure.
For sure. But
I may not get an assignment anytime soon if we get into that.
Glenwood's got 2 great coaches, you and Tim. I mean, I respect y'all just immensely.
Hey, I don't want you to forget on that Hall of Fame thing. We have 3 over there. Don't forget Ron Nelson. Ron Nelson's on our coaching staff too. We got Tim, Ron, and myself. I think that's pretty awesome. And Ron has this is not a slap in the face because this is what he chose to do. Ron has taken a back seat a little bit and is helping with the younger kids toward the varsity. He helps with the JV football. He helps with the JV baseball. He wants to be there for the varsity stuff and helps Ryan, his son, in football, and helps Tim in baseball. But Ron it's like Ron starting all over again. I mean, he's got some. It's awesome to see him come to work every day. Now he does get to drive the driver's ed car to Chick-fil-A 6 periods a day, but I mean, that's the only route they know. Chick-fil-A back to Glenwood. Chick-fil-A back to Glenwood. So it's not a hard gig. Not a hard gig that he has. I'm gonna go ahead.
I was just about to say I see him 4 or 5 days a week at Chick-fil-A, and
yes, sir.
A lot of times I go by there and I just walk over to the car and I say, "Hey, Coach Nelson, how you doing?" And we'll have a good talk, But he said, I see they wanted to come to Chick-fil-A. He said, "Yeah, they want to come here every day."
Every period. Every period. Absolutely.
Well, we appreciate that because they're one of our sponsors.
That's right.
There you go.
Keep going.
Well, it's the Phoenix City Chick-fil-A, so I know that's the one he's dealing with. So
that's the one we're dealing with right there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's good family there.
It's fun. And I was going to add something too, Dusty, when you were talking a while ago about coaching, and Marty said you make it look easy. And something I've discovered, there's never a dull moment around you, anytime. Because you're either in coaching mode or you're in comedian mode
or talking mode,
whatever the case it is.
My wife just left to go to the grocery store, and she said, "So that podcast gonna start? Are you gonna let them talk at all?" I said, "Well, it is their show." I said, "But once they ask me a question, they may not get to talk again for about 20 or 30 minutes." So I try not to take over. I don't want to take over. But no, you're right. I got a lot of friends. I got a lot of people in the business. I got a lot of people that have supported me. And, that's the way y'all are, you talk about this and the show that you're doing right here. I mean, it's about networking and it's about friendships. And I don't know that there's many enemies that I have into this coaching world. Once we become friends, we're friends forever. I mean, I think about that all the time. This is a really, really cool fraternity to be a part of, from college, high school, all the way around. I mean, and it goes back. I'm second generation, and it has a lot to do with those two people that I come from. You know what I'm saying? So meeting y'all, same thing. Basketball coach when I met Mike Peacock was Herbert Green. Well, who was best friends? Who was good friends with Herbert Green? Bubba Ball. So, I mean, I know this for a fact, Mike. I don't know if you know this or not. Do you know if they go back and do the research, and I don't want to get away from what y'all want to talk about, but if you go back and do the research of whatever the Christmas tournament has ever been called, the William Henry Shaw Christmas tournament, whatever it was called when Herbert Green played in it, because Eufaula played in it.
Yes,
my dad says Herbert Green is the all-time leading scorer in the Christmas tournament. He holds the record for the most points in a game in the Christmas tournament, and he holds the most points in the Christmas tournament. That was without the three-point line, by the way.
Right. By the way, you're absolutely right. And I've been told that, Dusty, by 2 or 3 different people. Matter of fact, Cecil Darby told me that way back when.
Well, there's your notification right there, because nobody knew this area better than he did. Because until I finally met him, I thought he was an imaginary friend of Coach Ball. I didn't know. I said, "Who is this guy, Cecil Darby, you keep talking about?" And then when I met him down, I think he was even it may have been at a Columbus Astros game when the Astros were still here. I said, "God, that guy really is real." Mostly everything that Coach Ball's ever told me, I thought was imaginary friend or somebody. Most of the stuff that he's told me has been very, very true.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right. Bubba said some things that were unreal, but when you check them out, they're always correct. Yeah.
So you wonder why my personality is like it is, because I had to compete with him, Mike. That's where it comes from. I've learned a lot of that from him. That is the truth. Because when he comes in a room, the room is taken over. Ain't no doubt.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Well, I remember that. I think the first time I ever met Bubba was not long after I came to Columbus State, and Herbert come by my desk. We were still in Woodruff Gym then, and he come peeked his head around the corner in the cubicle downstairs where we were, and he said, "Hey, come take a ride with me." and we go over to Britt David Park over there, and they're playing a high school softball tournament over there. And he wanted to go over and see somebody that was there. And we walked up on Bubba, and him and Bubba got into a conversation, and he introduced me to Bubba, and you know, and that's the first time I remember meeting Bubba Ball. But
and you didn't get back to Columbus State for 3 hours later with those two
it was
talking.
a while.
I'll go ahead and tell you that now.
Some of his stories, I remember the first time I met him, it was back when I think Reagan was president or something. It was a long time ago, right? And we started talking. I was a young guy then, you know, had hair and everything. And we had this guy named Bubba Ball. I'd heard about him, so I wanted to get, and this, you know, hey, Marty, you know, I coach, you remember. And so somehow politics came up in the circle of people who were talking. And he said, yeah, I remember when Newt was in my class. And I remember, he taught the Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich. And
Baker High graduate, absolutely.
Yes, and he's got a million stories about things like that. It just blows your mind when you listen to Bubba. And he was just an incredible guy, man.
We were talking today, me and Jennifer were talking today at lunch. For some reason, it came up. March just passed by, and it would have been his birthday, but he was 96 when he passed away. So, you know, very peaceful. I miss him each and every day. I wish he was here I'd let that joker still sit on my bench and tell me what to do if he was still here, because he forgot more basketball than I'll ever know. That's for sure.
And then all three of us combined here.
No doubt. No
Sure.
doubt.
Well, tell me this, Dusty. I know we're a faith-based group here. And that's one of the things that always struck me. I think you came and spoke in FCA for me 2 or 3 times.
Yes.
And I was impressed with the way you blend those two things together, sports and Christianity.
Well, you have to. I mean, I believe in the good Lord. I was in church this morning, matter of fact, and, you know, I run FCA at Glenwood, but I have some ladies that help me out, especially during basketball season or when things are going on. We have it every Friday morning, 7:30. Melanie Johnson helps me with FCA at Glenwood, and you know that's who you got to put at the top. You know, you got to put him at the top of the list and lean on him. And I believe in that. You know, I've gotten the umpire last year in the FCA softball that the Columbus State does here locally, that the chapter that who's running it now? Not Lamar, but who's running the FCA now?
John Carstory.
Carstory, yeah. Whose wife actually sang in church this morning. Sydney sang in church this morning, doing a really, really good job. But, you know, just things like that. I just think that we have so much of a stage to stand on here to bring God into some people's lives that you normally wouldn't have. I mean, yeah, I coach and teach at Glenwood. You'd still be amazed how many people don't know the Lord just because we're a Christian-based school. We're not a Christian academy, but we're a Christian-based school with Christian morals. And we get to, you know, thing about our school is we get to have chapel every Thursday. I'm responsible for getting the speakers. So if either one of y'all want to speak at chapel anytime soon, let me know. It'll last about 20 minutes, and I'd love to have you. But we have chapel every Thursday at Glenwood, and it's from 10 o'clock to 10:30. We get to have FCA. Coach Fanning has somebody that comes in and speaks to the baseball team, I know for a fact, every Tuesday. So we get to do some things that public schools and some other people don't normally get to do. And, you know, my thing is I believe wholeheartedly, you know, I grew up at Hilton Terrace Baptist Church. And then when my brothers got a little bit older, they went to Morningside. It was at Morningside for a while because of the youth group there. And Morningside, my mother is still at Morningside, trying to run the show over there and tell people what to do at Morningside. And, you know, we've been in church. I've been in church my whole life. I believe in God. I believe in things that he's done for us. And, you know, I want to make sure that I lead my life the right way so that the girls and boys that play for me and see me every day see that in me, so that I can just be a branch of what they're trying to get to in their life.
Well, I see that. I see that in you, Dusty. And that's one of the reasons we wanted to have you on here. I mean, because you're right. We have a podium. My mother always wanted me to be a preacher. She says, "Why don't you be a preacher?" and one day I just finally said, "Well, Mom, I think I am." I mean, my pulpit is a gym or a baseball field or a golf course. That's where I preach from. I just don't do it on Sunday morning from a pulpit.
Good point right there, Marty, because I have told people that over and over again. They talk about, well, why did you get out of softball after 17 or 18 years? I said, because basketball is my passion. I said, I think I connect with kids more basketball wise than I do softball wise, even though I was as successful with softball as I was with anything. But when I took over the girls program 5 years ago, I didn't want to go through a divorce. So I needed to be able to give up something so that I could come home every now and then. So, or I'd have been coaching 2 basketball teams, 2 softball teams, and I decided that I would give softball up, take over the gym, and be able to handle the gym and on both sides and coach the girls and the boys, and that's my passion. I mean, it's like I tell everybody every year. I know who my blood family is and who my step family is, but I have anywhere from 35 to 50 sons and daughters every year when basketball season comes around. And that's just the way I believe it. I mean, we're a small school, yes, and I know everything about everybody that goes to our school. And my thing is, I'm trying to pour into them to make them. I don't care if you become NBA, WNBA, 4-year college in basketball or whatever. I just want you to become a better young man and a better woman to lead you, to be a part of your families as you get older. And that's the only thing. I'm at that point now, and Coach Fanning and I have sat down and talked about this. He's won several state championships. I've won several state championships. If we win another one, to God be the glory. It's awesome. But my thing is now is pouring into kids and trying to make the next level the best that we can possibly make it. And that's just the way I believe. I mean, I'm not here to beat my chest or pat myself on the back about how many state championships I've got. But yeah, I was the leader of those. But you had to have some kids that were pretty good to lead you also. My thing now is leading them in the right direction to hopefully they become great women, great wives, great mothers, great husbands, leaders of their families, and whatever they want to do. I just want to make them the best that I could possibly make them.
If there's a young coach out there who's aspiring to be a coach, I hope you're listening, because that is everything what Coach Perdue just said. That's the point to coaching. That's the reason. That's the why. And the wins come, the wins go. You have good.
And I get it. I get it as a young coach, Marty, and I know Mike probably does too. I get it as a young coach. You are full of that and vinegar, and you want to win. You want to beat the guy next to you. You want to beat the guy across the gym. You want that W. You don't want that L. You want to win you a state championship. You want to win as much as you can. I get it. I was there. I get it. It's not going to change, and that's fine. But also put into your toolbox, that's what I'm going to use, put into your coaching toolbox how to be leaders of those men or girls or those boys the right way, not the wrong way. And there's some good ones really out there that I really believe are really, really good people. And then there's just some people out there that are out there for themselves. And that's just the way it is. I think, and I'm going to use my name because you already said he won a national championship. Dusty May, I think that is a really, really cool dude that I really think cares about his kids more than just X's and O's and basketball. I really do think when you hear that guy speak, I think it's true and genuine. I really do.
Coaching, I want to bring up something here too that is just, when you coach and you do it the right way, even when you're a young guy, if you've got good leadership ahead of you that are guys that are setting that example for you and showing you, there is nothing more rewarding than 20, 25 years later, you run into a kid that you had, and he comes up to you, and the first thing he says is, "Hey, coach, how you doing?" He don't call you anything else but coach. And then he says, "Hey, you remember when?" And he tells a story about that made an impression on him as a kid.
Absolutely.
Nothing in this world makes you feel better. And then to find out that they're a good husband and a good father, maybe they've been in the military and they've retired from the military, or they're doing really well in business. And you feel like, you know what, maybe I really did have an impact on that kid way back all those years ago, even, and you just didn't realize it. And
well, not just that, Mike. I mean, what a great point. At the place that I'm at right now, and I've had some other job offers, and I've interviewed for some jobs, and the good Lord just didn't lead me in the direction of those either at college or in high school. But I'm at a point now, Mike. How about in 2005, 2006, those kids that I were coaching? How about now their kids are coming back to Glenwood?
yeah,
No, I'm serious. How about
yeah,
their kids are now entering Glenwood, and I'm getting to see the rewards of their families and what they've produced and what they've become and all that. How cool is that? You say that, and I get phone calls from them really, really good players about once or twice a week or every 2 weeks. Like, y'all still there?
yeah, we're here.
Yeah,
Keep talking.
Like the Will Colemans of the world and the Alex Phillipses. But how about getting to see those people come up to your office while the day's going on? How cool is that?
Yeah,
that is awesome.
It's really a motivational thing too, isn't it, Coach? I mean, to have a kid say that, it just makes you feel like everything you do is worth it,
Well, it's like, I'm going to tell you another story. I'm going to follow in the footsteps of the guy that was my main hero and mentor, Coach Bubba Ball. I don't know Mr. Dusty Perdue. I know Coach Dusty Perdue. I love to hear that, but Marty may know this, and I don't know if he does or not. Coach Ball is my stepfather, but he raised me since I was 2 years old. So really, he is my father, my dad. And people used to ask me all the time, why don't you call him dad, or why don't you call him father, or why don't you call him pops? I said, hey, man, he's my coach. He's coached me in everything I've ever done and taught me everything that I need to know. I said, so he is coach. Well, I had to start explaining that to my two little brothers as they got older, because, they're brothers with, they are the children of my mom and dad, Bubba and Debbie. So I had to explain that. Well, we've had our first grandchild through my second marriage. Parker is my stepdaughter, and Ryan Bankston is my son-in-law. They had a little boy named Baylor. His name's Baylor Bankston. They came to me and they said, Coach, we would like for him to call you Coach. Not Pop, not Paw. We think that we want him to call you Coach. And I just started crying. And you know why. And I said, I think that would be the greatest honor of my life for that. So when he comes over and visits now, he knows he's had a ball in his hand. He's been to the gym. I sent y'all a picture. That's him in the picture that I sent y'all. He is a sport, and I have promised, just like Coach Ball promised me back in 1977 when he was coaching that Hardaway team that was really, really good with Larry Hubbard, Wildman Hubbard, who was one of my heroes back in the day. Coach Ball promised me when I could dribble with my right hand and my left hand, I could lead the Hardaway Hawks out on the court. So I've made that promise to Baylor Bankston. When he's able to dribble with his right hand or his left hand, if I'm still coaching and I don't know where I'm going, he can lead the Glenwood Gators out on the floor in basketball game. And his honey is going to make sure that is done. I'll go ahead and tell you that now. But no, it's a small world. You deal with a lot of things that come back around, and the word coach means a whole heck of a lot to me in many, many ways.
It does. That's why John Wooden's first book, they called me Coach. He picked that title. He couldn't have come up with a better title.
I agree. And hey, how about the female coach at UCLA? How about her kudos to Coach Wooden when she won the national championship? How she used to go have lunch with him at least 2 or 3 times a week. You couldn't pick a better person to go have lunch with, that's for sure.
No
And
doubt.
she gave him so much credit with her career. I thought that was really, really cool. And Marty, I think that's another thing that's missing these days. Just getting on that, I think we forget to thank those that came before us and to give homage to those that came before us. Because I'll go ahead and tell you right now, without Bubba Ball, Debbie Ball, Doug Key, I wouldn't be where I am. I'll be the first one to tell you that. Those three have played an instrument. They have been phenomenal in my life.
You know, the coaches, everything. They when I was a young boy, my mother made me go to church. You know, we walked to church. It was right down the road. And we got up every Sunday morning. We went to church. I didn't listen. I mean, I wrote my name on the back of the benches. And, you know, I mean, I would just keep clowning around with a young boy, and I hated it. And when Mom was out of town, Dad, I didn't go to church. I stayed home, you know, with Dad. Well, then one day, my coach in a public school says, "Hey, Marty, why don't you come go to church with me? I'm teaching Sunday school." Coaches got to me. Coaches are the ones who got me involved in church, changed my life. It was not the pastor. It wasn't preachers. It wasn't youth director. It was coaches. When coaches,
not just that, Marty. I mean, because coaches are cool. You know, that's the way that people look at them back in those days, or even now.
Even now, yeah.
Well, we have to understand that. I mean, coaches are cool, so we have to step off sometimes and say, "Hey, man, if we're that cool, then we need to be asking these guys, hey, y'all got to ride to church this Sunday? Hey, y'all pay attention in chapel? What was talked about today? Come to FCA on Friday morning." You know what I'm saying? We have to step off sometimes to let those guys know it's cool to put God first. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Hey, and Dusty, I'm gonna share this again. I've shared it 2 or 3 times on here, and we had Dan Britton on, who Dan was big in FCA, and he actually started FCA's international ministry. And he was one of our first guests, Marty, I guess, first 4 or 5 shows that we had. And it was a big opportunity for us to have somebody of his stature on the show. And he told a story, and he said, I kind of failed at what I intended to do. He said, because we had this first like international summit of coaches for FCA. He said, we had coaches from all over the world. And he said, I thought it'd be a great idea, set up a camera and let each one of those coaches walk and stand at a microphone and say the word coach in their native language. And he said, I thought it would make a cool video, you know, to show. And he said, so we lined it up. We had everybody ready to go. And he said, you know, they started coming to the mic and they would say the word coach. And he said, to me, he said, it basically didn't turn out very well. And Marty and I both, I think, said, why did that not turn out very well? He said, because you know what they all said? He said, every one of them, when they stepped to the mic and they said the word coach in their native language, he said, you know what it was? He said, it was coach. And I told him, I said, Dan,
oh, wow.
I said, Dan, wait a minute. I said, that wasn't a failure. You know, I said, that's pretty doggone cool.
Amazing.
That word is the same in every language.
That is cool. Wow. I didn't know that. Did you know
really,
that? I didn't.
I did not.
We didn't know it
until
he said that.
And I thought that was really cool that it turned out that word is used in every language to mean the same thing, to represent a coach. And
that's huge. Absolutely.
And I thought that was, you know, I said, Dan, you got to look at that a different way, man. I said, yeah, you need to use that. I said, because that's pretty doggone cool right there.
That is cool. Yeah. Don't let that fall. That's right. That's something you need to put in a book or put on a pamphlet. Put on a pamphlet or something when you pass it out, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it was, I said, that's a God thing right there, buddy.
That's right.
I said, that's exactly no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Dan, son of a coach too, by the way.
Yeah.
Was involved with FCA for decades. Now he's branched off, got his own ministry, sort of like what we're doing here.
Yeah.
He's a heck of a guy.
That's really cool.
Well, Dusty, I want to ask you about something, and you've mentioned it, and we've all seen it. I'm going to preface it by saying 10 years ago, if a coach or an athlete was interviewed after a game or in a press conference, if they said anything about Christianity and being a Christian, a lot of times the cancel culture just swooped in on them. But now there's been a 180-degree turn from that. And now you see coaches, athletes, administrators, every time they're interviewed, the very first thing that comes out of their mouth is honoring Jesus and honoring God and for thanking God for giving them the ability. Without God, I couldn't do anything that I'm doing. And it has been an amazing shift in how that's taken place. And I know you've seen it. And so, what do you think has gone on in our culture that has brought that?
Well, I think for one, we can give a lot of credit to that guy that put it under his eyes, 316. By the way, he's a Gator.
Yeah.
When he came out and he has been as firm with his belief, and it was firm with what he says every day. It does not change. And I think just going back to that point, it was cool. Here we go again with the word cool. And when you get some of the cool athletes or some of the cool coaches or some of the cool singers or the cool actresses to start saying stuff about God and what is going on in their life, then the younger people see that. And that's where we're at. It started swirling with him, 316. His locker room rant about how they were going to go back out and win the game and all that. And then he's touched other people. And I'm not putting it all on him. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Other people have been led that way also. But it goes back to when you start throwing it out there and you start leading your life that way and good things start happening to you, and you put him first, and you say you're putting him first, and good things start happening, it makes people sit back and say, maybe I need to be doing this also, or maybe I need to find out or maybe I need to open up the oldest book known to man and start reading something in there, or maybe I need to go to a small group with men at Chick-fil-A on Tuesday mornings and find out what this is all about. I'm not asking you to come and say anything. I'm just asking you to come and listen. Come and listen to what this book has to say and what's going on in other men's lives. I'll give you a story right now. And this goes on a little bit about what we're talking about, but off the beaten path, maybe just a little bit. And Mike, you know this guy, and Marty knows this guy, Randy Morris, who used to be my assistant coach, who took over the World Series team and went up and won a World Series. We used to coach the Dodgers together out at Northern. And his father, Mr. Harold Morris, just passed away a couple of days ago. And do you know who honored Mr. Harold Morris the first day after he passed away? Because they used to have a small group at their restaurant. It's right up from Columbus State. It was on their marquee. Chick-fil-A on Manchester Expressway said, rest in peace, Mr. Harold Morris, and gave his date of birth and his date that he passed away. Because, he was up there, I think he was up there almost every morning, if not some mornings of the week. And I just think that he left a lasting impression on those people there. He left a lasting impression on the people of Epworth, the Epworth that's in Columbus, Epworth Methodist over there. And, you're talking about another legendary coach. Randy has been a great Little League coach in this town, in Columbus, has touched a lot of young men's lives, has coached a lot of guys that have played for money professionally, major league, minor league. And, so he's been around and known a lot of people. And Randy and I are friends and have been friends for a long, long time. His grandson, Hayes, has been coming to my basketball camp during the summer, so I get to see him a little bit then. But that's just what I'm talking about. Small groups like that. Older men being mentors to younger men being mentors to kids in schools and just on little league teams and stuff like that. But yeah, I think it's sometimes you don't know whether it's really from the heart or if it's just what they think they need to say. First and foremost, I'd like to give all my glory to God. I mean, that's said in a lot of speeches. And you can tell the ones, for the most part, that it really means something to. And, I just think that. I think that Tim Tebow, those type athletes, professional, NFL, NBA, all that, I think they have, besides selling shoes, they have no clue how much influence they have in our youth of today. I'm coaching one right now that may be the best player that I've ever coached. He's if not the best, he's on that list. And he's playing for an Under Armour team called Alabama Truth, and they are sponsored by Under Armour. And he's playing again this weekend up in Cumming, Georgia, and doing really, really well. But he is one that I've taken under my wing to want to make, because he's going to get to speak in a forum like this in the future.
He is.
And he's going to get to speak in front of people, and people are going to hear what he has to say. And I want to make sure that he's prepared and says the right thing and says it from the heart. I want him to be, because those are the type of people that we're trying to set up for the rest of our life, or trying to set up for the future. And, Braylon's got a great upside coming up. He's got a great future ahead of him, knock on wood. And I just hope that we're doing the right thing, not just with him, but with other kids his age that lead us to where we need to be. Because sooner or later, the good Lord's coming back. We just better be ready when he is coming back.
Amen.
Right.
And I just think you said something huge right there, Dusty, about taking him under your wing and preparing him, because I think that's where a lot of coaches sometimes miss opportunities with kids to do that. They're afraid of overstepping bounds. They're afraid of, stepping on toes or something like that. But it takes a lot of courage for you to grab a kid and say, look, I want to help you. I want you to do this the right way. I want us to do this the right way. And I think that's important. And it goes back to something that Marty and I have been talking about this whole time since we started this. Marty wrote his curriculum, A Higher Standard, for coaches and athletes. It's about servant leadership. It's about being a true leader, the right kind of leader. And when we have coaches like yourself who are taking the time, not just with one single athlete, but basically with everybody that plays for you. You're setting the example in front of them, but you're willing to go one-on-one with that extra gifted kid, and say, look, you're gonna have an opportunity to make an impact, and these are some things that you need to be cognizant of as you're going through, to make sure that you are setting the right kind of example and setting yourself up the right way so that you handle these situations. And I think that's awesome that you're doing that. And it's awesome also that Braylon has enough confidence in you and has a good enough relationship with you that he's allowing you to do that. That means he trusts you. And we've talked about,
and I step on his toes every now and then. He gets mad at me, but that's the way it's going to be.
Part of it.
That's the relationship. Yeah.
Well, and I didn't mean to cut you off, Mike, but but there's a little poem or a little saying, and I can't remember exactly what it is. Watch out what you do, or watch out what's going on, because little eyes are always watching.
Yeah.
Hey, and I try to tell them that we are K through 12 at our school. Mm-hmm. When you walk down the hallway, they are looking at you like you are the greatest thing since sliced bread. They've heard all about you. They know that you're up for player of the year. They know that you've scored 30 points in a game. And the way that you act in front of them, is the way that they're going to think that you act. And they think that if you're doing something wrong, they can do something wrong. So you got to understand what little eyes, big eyes, anything. It's what we talked about. I was telling you about taking them under the wing to make sure we're saying and doing the right thing. It's just like a conversation we had about 5 or 6 games into the season. I didn't have a true point guard, and I needed him to be the point guard. Even though he's the leading scorer, I still needed him to be the point guard. He didn't want to be the point guard. He wanted to be the shooting guard. I said, well, buddy, guess who gets to touch the ball the most? The point guard. So you can shoot it. You can go off a screen. You can do whatever you want to do. But this is another learning moment. We're trying to do what's best for the team, not what's best for Braylon. And he took it. Hey, he took it. We rolled with it. We had a good season, as far as I'm concerned, with 4 new starters. And, you've seen him play, Mike. He's going to be really, really good. He's going to grow. But the thing is, I want him to do everything the right way. Is he going to make some mistakes? Absolutely. We all do, and we will. But when it's all said and done, I want him to have lived the best that he could possibly live and do the best that he can possibly do.
Yeah, exactly right.
That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
They're little eyes. I've read that poem.
I can't remember it. Somebody has said it to me over and over again. You're gonna make me go look it. I'm gonna look it up before I see y'all the next time.
The little eyes that take in everything you say and do, because one day he's gonna grow up to be like you or something like that.
There you go. Look at Durden the poet over there.
Steel trap. He's a steel
absolutely
trap.
He is. That's the truth.
I remember, it's funny how in coaching, talk about remembrances. You see a person, you may not remember their name, but you remember something that happened in a game surrounding that person. Am I the only one that experiences that? That every person is a memory. Sports is just a giant string of memories put together, some good, some bad.
Well, no, Marty, I could quote the newspaper sports page to you every day growing up. I didn't know anything else that was going on in the world, but I knew what was going on the sports page. I can tell you that right now. Hey, I'm one of those guys that C's get degrees. You understand? I was one of those guys. I wasn't one of those AB guys. I was C's get degrees, and let's get to the field or the court as fast as we can.
Yes, sir, man.
Yes. Yeah, that was all what I was all about. What kind of practice do I have this year, this time of year?
Right.
It was
That's
one
right.
or the other.
That's
and,
right.
It was fun, and it was weird if we weren't practicing, because then we all got together and we played something.
Oh yeah, every day, every night.
We'd play pickup games or something, whether it was basketball or wiffle ball or football or.
Well, now I'm going to tell you, whatever group I'm coaching or not coaching, if they're not doing something at the school, you can go to Green Island pickleball courts, and that's where they're playing almost every day. The Green Island pickleball court. Yeah. They put on a show over there. I can go ahead and tell you.
They're backed up over there, like how we used to play pickup games, Wednesdays. They're over there. I don't know if they're doing that same thing, but I was over there.
Well, they have some new ones here in Phoenix City. Hey, you go down there, there's somebody on them almost every time that you can go down there and play. That's been a real good draw for Idle Hour.
They built several of them around. I think they built some out by Ladonia School, and I think they built some in Crawford. And
they did. They did.
They built. Getting big.
They built 4 across from Russell County High School, way out there. Yeah. The pickleball's big, man. We have our own tournament at Glenwood. I'll invite y'all to come, and y'all can broadcast it. I'll let y'all broadcast it.
He'll do it.
Hey, tell Thrift about it. He'll put it on there.
I know. You tell Thrift somebody's competing. He's going to try to find some way to get out there. That's sure.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
We got to have you back, Dusty. We should have already had you on the show, man.
No, this has been fun. This has been great. Awesome. Hey, you were talking about being a pastor. If I was a pastor, we'd never get out for lunch on time. I'll go ahead and tell you that now. I was thinking about that when you said that a while ago. I'd get fired after the first 2 or 3 Sundays. That joke, we're supposed to get out at noon. No, we get out till about 12:45.
Well, Well, Dusty, I don't know if you knew this or not, but my dad was a pastor.
Oh,
my
I did
whole
not
life.
know that.
Yeah,
I did not.
And I had somebody tell me not long ago. I said, I know why you're doing ball games and stuff. Your daddy was a preacher. You got to find a way to talk somehow, And so, and I, Marty, you got to ask that question, and I got to ask that question all my life: is how come you wasn't a preacher? Well, mine was a different calling. Mine was a little bit different, and I get to do different things, but in a lot of ways, I get to do some of what my dad did. And
absolutely, you
and
just jumble it all together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you get to put it all together.
You just put it all together, and when it comes down to it, you're trying to do the right thing and say the right thing in front of people, and you're trying to influence people the right way, and that's what it's all about. It doesn't matter if you're a plumber or a welder or a coach or a insurance salesman, whatever the case may be. If you live your life the right way and you do things the right way, you are doing a lot of aspects.
Making a difference.
More than you know is exactly right, and you will be rewarded in the end. That is the truth.
Absolutely. And Dusty, I'm going to echo what Marty said. We sure have enjoyed having you on here.
And
we just every week we get on here with somebody and we just talk.
I love it. Absolutely. I looked at one y'all did with Coach Fanning, and I said, them jokers have talked for 50-something minutes with Tim Fanning. I said, I haven't talked 50-something minutes with Tim Fanning in 20 years. How did they get? I said, they must have done all the talking because he doesn't like to talk that much. I'll go ahead and tell you. He talks about the school. He don't like to talk about himself. He talks about the school. He'll talk about serve to lead, and he's done. Mm-hmm. But for y'all to get 50 minutes out of Tim Fanning, y'all were doing something. Y'all can get double that with me, but with him, I don't know about that. That was hilarious. Let me tell one last story before I let y'all go, or y'all let me go. This is a Bubba Ball story, and I think it's one of the greatest stories ever. As Marty knows, and I don't know if you know or not, Mike, Coach Ball was from Bessemer, Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
You do know who was from Bessemer, Alabama?
Bo Jackson.
The number one athlete of all times, probably an athlete, Bo Jackson. Along with Lawyer Tillman, who played wide receiver at Auburn. People don't know that. Jameis Winston's from up around that area, Hueytown, all that up there. All those people are related, by the way. I found out that Coach Ball was related to the Allison family. He thinks he's a race car driver now. So he's related to them. I mean, he knew about the what they call them, the Alabama gang. He knew all that. All right, but let me tell you a story. A guy that I played with, Scott Bicknell, played baseball with him with Coach Ball. Coach Ball was our coach. Scott Bicknell and Greg Massey, all that group was at Shaw at the same time, and we played baseball for Coach Ball. Well, Coach Ball used to tell us all the time, greatest athlete to ever come out of he was the greatest athlete to come out of Bessemer. All of his sayings. I see the best athlete every morning when I shave. Just the old Bubba Ball stories. We used to hear, I could hit. He said I could hit it, go get it, and slide on either side. I mean, these are Bubba Ball sayings. So we're talking, and Scott Bicknell back then, I don't know if y'all remember back then, there wasn't travel ball, there was Connie Mack. Connie Mack baseball.
Yeah, I remember that.
And they would travel from city to city to play cities against cities. And Scott Bicknell played for Columbus, and they were going to the Birmingham area and stopped through Bessemer, Alabama. So it's one of them old gas stations where you have 4 or 5 of them codgers sitting around a little table back over in the corner, drinking their Pepsi, Mountain Dew, Dr. Pepper, probably playing checkers. And Scott got up enough nerve when he got off the bus. He went in there. They asked where he was at. And he said, "Oh, are you kidding me?" So he goes back over to these guys. He said, "Excuse me, sir, gentlemen, excuse me just for a minute. Can I ask y'all a question?" They said, "Well, sure. Go ahead." He said, "Well, I'm going to play in a baseball tournament this weekend, and I play baseball down in Columbus, Georgia, and I got a question. Who is some of the best athletes to come out of this area?" And this one man that takes his cigar out of his mouth or whatever was going on, And he goes, well, son, of course you know about Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson is from right around here, went to McAdory High School, was the real deal, one of the best ever. They said, yes, sir, I've heard of him, and Lawyer Tillman. But, son, way back when, there was a guy by the name of James Augustus Ball that was as good as anybody you have ever seen. And they said Scott dropped his mouth. He looked around and he said, I thought that joker had been lying to me all these years. He's got four dudes. He's got four guys up here saying he's one of the best athletes to ever come out of this area. He said, all I could do was come back to school Monday and tell Coach Ball, man, you wasn't lying, Coach. You really are one of the best of all time. He said, I tried to tell y'all, but y'all wouldn't listen to me. I mean, you're talking to a guy that played, he played semi-pro basketball for the Fort Wayne Pacers, which is now the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah.
Okay. He played baseball for the Columbus Foxes, which is now the team downtown, which was a minor league program for the St. Louis Cardinals. He's played on the field with Stan Musial. I mean, he has some stories now, y'all. I'm telling y'all, I was very and it was in his later years that I had to sit down and understand this guy is pretty special. And not only to you as a dad, but in this area, he's a pretty cool and special guy. And I mean, he got his first job at Baker. He was playing for the Foxes at night, coaching basketball for Baker during the day. I mean, they were allowed him to do that back then. And he was a player manager in the old Sally League, which was Georgia, Alabama, all that. And I pulled that. He showed me some paper. He hit 331 one year in the Sally League. I said, wow. I don't need to see those stats, man. I said, I'll be thinking about this, and you just be grinning down from heaven at me. I said, you the crazy. Hey, I just wanted to share that with y'all. I mean, I could go on days with him. I mean, I miss him. I love him. And he was not only my dad, but he was my hero, too. Really cool dude.
That's awesome.
I'm telling you.
Thank y'all for today. I can't say thank you. Two class guys right here. I think a lot of both of y'all, and thank y'all for letting me spend an hour and 4 minutes on here with y'all. I could talk for another hour, but I want to see who's going to win the Masters just like y'all do.
Yes, sir. But hey, let me ask you one question, and this is the question we ask basically every guest that comes on here. And Marty alluded to it a little bit ago, and we've talked a little bit about it. But Dusty, if you have a young man who maybe either is already a young coach or somebody who's thinking about going into coaching, and they come up to you and say, Coach, what are some things that I need to do to be good at what I do as a coach? What are some pieces of advice you give that young man?
Don't think that you know everything right off the bat. Lean on some older. Look for some gray hair. Look for gray hair. I'm not kidding when I say that. Look for gray hair or no hair, as you can see in the picture, and talk to those people. Be very humble. Don't think you know everything, and don't be afraid to write it down. Write it down or put it on your phone. We talk about Bubba Ball, but I can tell you who the most together person I've ever been around is Debbie Ball. Debbie Ball, our practices were written out, planned out every day because of her. The most organized person that I know. Be organized. When you're, and this is a Debbie Ball rule that she kicked Dusty in the Perdue in the butt about several times. When you say you're going to be done with practice at a certain time, be done with practice at a certain time. Do not keep those people waiting for you to spend another 5 to 10 minutes doing this. When you say you're done, be done. She taught me that from Little League all the way up to high school. But if you're a young coach, lean on the elder coaches. And be humble. Don't be afraid to do some homework. There's nothing wrong with that. Go to clinics. Go to clinics of people that you like. Go to clinics of people that you like. Go to people of clinics that you don't like. If you're a football coach, go to different offensive clinics. Go to 2 different defensive clinics. Same with basketball. But don't be so prideful that you're not afraid to ask for help. Ask for help when you need to ask for help. And that's just the way it is. I mean, one of my guys that helped raise me and loves me and my brothers till this day, and we talk every now and then, Coach Flowers. I mean, with what he's doing with today's youth and how he's trying to help, he's a mentor. I mean, he is trying to. That is one you need to ask this question to, because he can give you a lot more information. But he's trying to help young coaches get to the level that he's been to, or to get to the higher level. But that's the thing. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask people that have been there and done that.
Awesome.
Good advice.
Great advice. Great advice. Well, that's going to bring us to an end of another episode of Step Up, Make a Difference, the podcast. And as we always say, if you have your eyes open and you're looking around, God's going to provide you an opportunity to do something. And you have a choice. You can either ignore it and keep walking, or you can choose to step up and make a difference. And we hope that you step up and make a difference. The more you do that, the more benefits it'll pay, and the more it will help things overall. People, places, things, you name it, it's going to help, and it'll be big for the future. And that we're all about the future and what's coming and doing it right. And Dusty, we appreciate what you do. We appreciate what you've done for a lot of years. We appreciate you being with us. Marty, same for you, my friend. You've been doing it for a lot of years, and we got a lot of people that appreciate it. All 3 of us are very fortunate men. I tell you that.
Absolutely.
We are. We're blessed.
We're very blessed.
That is what you just said, Mike, is right on. I couldn't say it better. That is a true statement.
Yep.
So I tell you, guys, thank you again for being here, and for everybody, share this podcast. Put the word out. As we always say, look up our social media, comment on our social media. Tell us if you've got ideas for guests, if you've got ideas for things you want us to talk about on this podcast. We're here for you. We're trying to help people. We're trying to advance not only God's kingdom, but also we're trying to just advance the cause of doing things the right way. And if we can do anything to help with that, if we can come talk to your group, if we can do any of that stuff, please let us know. We'd be glad to do it. And join us again next week, as we'll have another great guest, and we'll talk some more about stepping up and make a difference in somebody's life. Good night, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, guys.